foot, and the vehicle began to drive off. At least 2 shots were fired. The vehicle then crashed on the side of the roadway. Minneapolis police officers secured the crime scene in 34th Street in the city. At some point, a law enforcement officer approached her on foot, and the vehicle began to drive off. At least 2 shots were fired. The vehicle then crashed on the side of the roadway. Minneapolis police officers secured the crime scene and assisted in trying to preserve the evidence that is there. We have since turned over the scene both to the Federal Bureau of Investigation as well as the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, which will be conducting an investigation into this use of deadly force. That's local law enforcement. The Secretary of Homeland Security called it domestic terrorism and seemed to speak as though she had all the facts. Stephen Miller has tweeted a similar narrative that seems conclusive in terms of what they believe happened. Donald Trump has done the same. Is it your sense that the state and local investigative actions are the only investigations into what has happened today, or do you have any information that suggests anyone else is investigating the facts and talking to people like Eugene Bentley, who witnessed the shooting and the killing?
Well, Nicole, what I can tell you is that the state and local law enforcement account that you just read out there matches in many ways our experience here. Now, of course, we arrived on the scene about 20 to 30 minutes after the first report of this incident from an ICE verifier. But we can say pretty clearly that this woman was shot in the front seat of her car based on the fact that there's an image that I will never be able to get out of my head of blood spattered on an airbag. We can say pretty definitively that the car was stuck there for a very long period of time. I do remember seeing the Federal Bureau of Investigation agents taking photos of the crime scene before the car was towed. So that might indicate that there is some level of investigation from the federal government. But much more than that, Nicole, given that we were here in the half hour after this transpired, I can't say definitively one way or the other.
Hello, Cyber Warrior. How you doing? Sorry, I was doing a couple dishes as this was going on. We're going to watch a little more. All right, so they're calling out 48 minutes ago. This was just released, bringing out the...
Asgrow brand offers a product for every acre in every region, so you can fully optimize your operation against the specific challenges you face, which leaves only one question. What do you grow? Asgrow brand. It's all about the beans.
Is it time to say yep to Vyepti? Vyepti is an IV infusion that helps prevent migraine attacks. Chronic migraine.
Governor Walz.
Cyber Warrior, thanks for asking. I'm not doing too good. I think someone's trying to switch lives or something like that, or laid hands on me or something, but I'm hanging in there trying to. All right, let's watch a little bit more of this. This was horrible what happened. A citizen was shot by ICE team. Very sad. But when they post this stuff and you get a bulletin and it says they're in the area looking for people, stay in your homes, folks. Stay in your businesses and stay at home. Let them do their jobs and they be gone. Hold on a minute. All right, let's watch a little bit more of this.
Difficult week for him. Let's hear what he has to say.
What we're seeing is the consequences of governance designed to generate fear, headlines, and conflict. It's governing by reality TV. And today that recklessness cost someone their life. I've reached out to Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem, and I'm waiting to hear back. Let me be clear. Donald Trump and his administration may not care much about Minnesota. That's been pretty evident, but we love this state. We won't let them tear us apart. We'll not turn against each other. To Minnesotans, I say this: I feel your anger. I'm angry. They want a show. We can't give it to them. We cannot. If you protest and express your First Amendment rights, please do so peacefully, as you always do. We can't give them what they want. The hearts and minds of the people in this state are on our side. To Americans, I ask you this: please stand with Minneapolis. To Minnesotans, know that our administration is going to stop at nothing to seek accountability and justice. The State Bureau of Criminal Apprehension are working on the investigation. We have activated the State Emergency Operations Center. State Patrol and Minnesota National Guard leadership is connected with the Minneapolis Police Department, the St. Paul Police Department, Hennepin County Sheriff's Office, the DNR, and Minnesota's Homeland Security and Emergency Management. We have activated dozens of members of the State Patrol's mobile response team. And from here on, I have a very simple message. We do not need any further help from the federal government. To Donald Trump and Kristi Noem, you've done enough. There's nothing more important than Minnesotan safety. I've issued a warning order to prepare the Minnesota National Guard. We have soldiers in training and prepared to be deployed if necessary. I remind you, a warning order is a heads up for folks. And these National Guard troops are our National Guard troops. They're teachers in your community, they're business owners, they're construction professionals. They are Minnesotans. Minnesota will not allow our community to be used as a prop in a national political fight. We will not take the bait. We will continue to update you, Minnesota, as
Wow, Minnesota's calling out their National Guard. What do they think they're going to do? Take on the United States military? Are they crazy up there? But then again, I have to remember it's Minnesota. And it's very cold there, and their brains probably are half frozen right now. You know, Minnesota is one of the most coldest states in America. It gets pretty cold there. But what are they going to do? I mean, he's saying they're calling out the National Guard and they're Minnesota's National Guard. You know, what is the National Guard going to start shooting ICE agents? That's like shooting a federal agent and stuff. I don't know, but keep the cameras rolling on this. I think it's horrible that that lady lost her life. But if people would just, you know, you get pulled over by a police officer, what do? You pull over and they ask for a license or whatever. You give them their license, and you get the ticket or a warning or whatever. Sometimes nothing, and you're on your way. Why didn't this happen this way? I don't know. Was it a white person, black person? We don't know. You know, Hispanic. We have no idea yet. I'm sure we'll find out more. Let's watch a little bit more of this.
we get more information. Now I'd like to turn it over to Commissioner Bob Jacobson of the Minnesota Department of Public Safety.
Thank you, Governor. As the Governor mentioned, my name is Bob Jacobson. It is my honor to serve as the Commissioner of the Minnesota Department of Public Safety. First of all, I want to acknowledge the reason that we are all here. The loss of life is not anything anyone would ever want. We fully expect that the community will want to peacefully demonstrate their anger or frustration. Minnesota residents and visitors have the right to peacefully demonstrate. We recognize that demonstrations are often driven by strong emotions, beliefs, and certainly a desire to be heard. Our role is to help ensure everyone can express themselves without anyone getting hurt. The Minnesota Department of Public Safety's role through the Minnesota State Patrol is to ensure safety, protect constitutional rights, keep roads accessible, and above all, to prevent harm. Our top priority is public safety. Our focus is keeping demonstrators, community members, drivers, and law enforcement safe, especially during moments of heightened tension or uncertainty. Demonstrations must remain safe and lawful, particularly around roadways. We will join with our partners to support safety while respecting the right to protest. With that in mind, I'd like to share a few safe and lawful ways to demonstrate.
Hi, I'm YouTube, and on YouTube, you're not allowed to say words like.
Well, I didn't catch that.
That's because we're on YouTube, and on YouTube, you're not allowed to say words like.
Minnesotans can safely and legally express their views in many ways, including getting together peacefully with others in public spaces, marching or walking, not on roadways, making your voice heard through chants, speeches, and displaying signs, being present in public areas where pedestrians are allowed, gathering in designated or permitted areas, and these actions will allow people to express themselves while protecting the safety of everyone involved. Unsafe or illegal actions could result in fines or arrests. Certain behaviors create serious hazards that threaten public safety, disrupt emergency services, or put people at risk. These actions could result in fines or arrest. Demonstrating on or entering a freeway on foot, walking on highways, throwing objects, starting or setting fires, damaging property or graffiti, using illegal fireworks, displaying or using illegal weapons, reckless or dangerous driving, especially near pedestrians, and certainly assaultive, aggressive, or riotous behavior toward anyone. We all want definitive answers to what happened today. Our Bureau of Criminal Apprehension is working in conjunction with the FBI to investigate this morning's shooting. As you know, we don't comment on active investigations, but also keep in mind that this is an investigation is also in its infancy. So any speculation about what had happened would be just that. And we will not engage in speculation. With that, I will turn it back over to the governor. Thank you.
We'd be glad to take any questions. Yeah, and I can let General Schaefer talk about this. It so happens it's a training weekend. We've got about 7,500 troops in training at our sites, training sites across the state. What it is, and in the National Guard, you give a warning order, which is a heads up of something could be coming. That just allows people to think about what they would need, what it would mean to mobilize, what it would mean to put them in. And I could let the general talk a little bit about this. Obviously, since the summer of 2020, we had a lot of work done on teams being ready to make sure that civil unrest, and what that means, and I think Commissioner Jacobson was very clear, and I want Minnesotans to hear this from me. The desire to get out and protest and to speak up to this administration of how wrong this is, that is a patriotic duty at this point in time, but it needs to be done safely. And I think the commissioner simply just laid out some of those parameters. We can do that. This is the peaceful resistance that we need. Simon, you want to say a few things about what that means to have them on the ready?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Governor. So for the military, Minnesota National Guard is comprised of 13,000 soldiers and airmen. We live all across and work throughout Minnesota. A warning order is just an initial step to increase your preparations. The Minnesota Guard is always prepared to respond and support state agencies and the citizens of Minnesota. So what that means for us today is just some additional checks on equipment that is ready at all times, and maybe some additional phone calls to service members who might be activated, but no activations. We are embedded with our state agencies here at the Operations Center to just continue parallel planning in the event that we are needed to support.
And I would make note, Mary, and to Minnesotans on this about the National Guard, they're there to protect you and protect your constitutional rights. These are our neighbors. They don't wear masks. They don't bust in from somewhere else. They're not here to cause hassles to you or what we saw today, the tragedy. Having them at the ready to make sure, because when we see these types of things happen, and we saw it after the murder of George Floyd, there's folks that want to cause chaos. There's the disruptors in it. And while the vast majority of those protests were peaceful expressions of their First Amendment rights, there were those that destroyed property and put people at risk. The National
All right, so they're calling in the National Guard or putting them on warning in case protesters break out and they start burning stuff down. I wish they would release the information right away of was this somebody that was on the list of ICE to pick up and they took off. You know, if that was a police officer, they would have done the same thing, probably shot. You know, if depending on what the problem was, you know, if they give you an order, uh, like I said to you folks, it's like getting pulled over by the police, right? You get pulled over, they come to your door, they ask for your license, driver's license, whatever. If you're speeding or no seatbelt or whatever, you know, you give them your license and insurance, they write you a ticket, and you're on your way. Why is this so difficult for people? I don't know. Probably because you brainwash the whole country into it's our freedoms, and now people are taking up weapons against our own people. It's just nuts. It's crazy. Our own government and everything, you know, it's just gone completely crazy. But in order to stay out of prison or in order to, you know, not get fired upon or your property stolen and everything, you know, like what happened to me, uh, just obey by their rules. I know it's tyrant. I know the whole time we've been pumped full of lies and brainwashed. Some people, millions, are waking up from the psychological either drugs that they put us on or the Lord is waking us up, whatever it is, just abide by the laws. And if you get a bulletin on your phone that ICE is in the area looking for people, stay home. You know, stay home. Who's so worried about this? People that are here illegally. No one else is. It don't affect any of us. You know, it don't. It don't affect any of us. Why are they throwing such a big stink about it? They're here illegally. If they did the procedures and they're here legal, uh, there's no problems. But if they're here illegally and they're looking for them, then let them do their jobs. I don't understand it. They're going to cause a war, or they're trying to. I don't know. Let's watch some more of this.
National Guard is there to make sure that peaceful protests are able to be done and that those that want to do the destruction are stopped from doing that. Yes.
Now look at these people are just walking down the middle of the street. Now, could these people be arrested? Yes, they could. Why? You can't walk on the middle of a street. You're breaking traffic laws. This is why, see these people here in the cars? You see these people in the cars? They panic, see? And I'm telling them to panic and floor it. You people are putting these pedestrian or these vehicles who are allowed to be on the streets because it's the law at danger. And these people panic, they floor it, and they run you all over. Am I going to charge them? No. Why? Because you should not be on the streets. Now, do I blame you folks? No, I don't. Your state should be giving you people that you can go to that is not on the streets and protest peacefully. That's your state's problem, Minnesota. Get a hold of Jesse Ventura. Tell him you need a place to protest peacefully. But what you're doing right now is breaking the laws. You are an inconvenience to vehicles, and you're breaking the laws. I don't know what to tell you. If that guy in the red car there floored it and ran you people over, there'd be no charges. Why? Because he has the right of way. You idiots walking down the street in the middle of the street causing all this, you don't have the right of way. But then again, these people ain't from America. They're probably from a third world country where you could just terrorize everything. So I don't know.
Yeah.
The demonstrations at these ice raves have been increasing in tension to the point where we saw one shot people today.
Yeah, and well, and I think apparently by a federal agent, not by Minnesotans who were there to express their First Amendment rights. I think we've seen this to have folks ready. The gatherings that were down there today, I think this shocked everyone. People showed up as they should. There's people putting flowers down on a memorial. There's people expressing their anger. It's just as these situations develop, we decide when we need to move these people out. And I think the local reporters know well on this. Both unfortunately and for us, the upside of this is that we're very good. And
now I want you to pay attention what's going on. These people are directing traffic. They're telling people, turn here, you're not coming through here. Now I believe in peaceful protest, but now you become a hazard because you're walking down the middle of the road. And we know that these people panic, right? A crowd of people go around their car. They start banging on the car. What do? They floor it. Why? Because they are scared for their lives. That it's going to be another Rodney King and you're going to pull the truck driver out of the truck and beat them to death. So these people, even though they're peacefully protesting, they're literally breaking traffic laws. And that's where it starts. Little traffic law. And boom, the next thing you know, you got madness. Why they don't have a place where they can go and all meet and protest peacefully in America, in each state, town, whatever, I have no idea. But if I was running the show in Minnesota, I'd be lock them all up. They're breaking traffic laws. They are not the law, and they're actually directing people to not take the way home that they usually take home. And all these people got to divert around there and all that. It's just causing a mess. But I don't run the country. I don't run the country or make the laws. The laws are already in place before I was born.
we've had practice at this. And I just want to, again, implore Minnesotans, I am not telling you not to express your anger or your frustrations or the outrage that we have. Look, this was totally predictable, as I said it yesterday, and it was totally avoidable. And I just want to remind you, too, that local law enforcement, we get no coordination. They don't tell us they're coming. They don't say why they're sending the largest deployment in American history to Minneapolis. They're not.
If you've been in an auto accident, you have a choice on where to get your vehicle fixed.
They're not making us any safer. We don't have any of that coordination. They should be talking to us when we do these things. Let us know we're going to be down here. This is going to happen. We don't have that. So when you see local law enforcement.
But you did have that, because I just watched a video of a citizen saying that he got an alert on his phone that ICE is in town looking for people. They sent it to everybody. So how are they not sending it to the mayor or National Guard that ICE is in the area? I don't know. But then again, it's a communication breakdown. And by law, these people walking down the middle of the street are breaking traffic laws. If somebody got spooked and floored it and ran them people down, I wouldn't blame them. Why? Because of the laws. You're not allowed to walk down a street, highway, in the middle of it and obstruct justice or vehicles or be a deterrent to people driving vehicles. I don't know what's wrong with this country. Malfunction, maybe. A complete communication breakdown, probably.
Or State Patrol, or if it would take the National Guard, we're there responding to the chaos they've created too. But our role is to make sure that we're protecting Minnesotans so that something like this doesn't happen. I have not. The question was, have I spoken to the individual's family? No, we do not have a definitive ID on this individual. And I look, I'm going to note to all of you, I think it's really important,
really?
and the professionals do this, and they train me to do this. This is an open investigation. You need to be very careful about it. I know that many of you, myself included, have seen a very difficult video to watch, one where there's a family member watched their family member be shot and killed in front of them. It's beyond me that apparently from the federal government, from the Homeland Security Director herself, has already determined who this person was, what their motive was, and they hadn't even been taken out of the vehicle. We're not living in a normal world. And so, no, I have not. And I want to be very careful because I know how painful this is. I know how painful it is right now. I'm saying person and all that. This is a human being. This very well is an individual's child, a parent, and we don't know that yet. So no, I have not, but once we do, we will. So yes. Please.
Well, I agree with this mayor or whoever he is of Minnesota. We don't live in a normal world. How many times I got to tell? How many years have I been saying that? Lord, you dropped me back off on one of these crazy rocks again. Let's see what Kelt's saying. The whole shooting was sad. If it's true and was purposely blocking, then I don't care as much. If she was just confused and caught in the wrong place, then it's sad. I agree. They probably could have been handled differently. They could have sent a patrol car, block that car or whatever, pull it over. They should be working together as a team, police and ICE and federal government and everything as a team. But we don't live in a perfect world, and state is against federal and federal is against state. And when you look at the laws, I'm sorry, it's all federal land. I let you have a state because I cut it all up, but it's still federal land and ran by the federal government. I don't know what to tell you. That's the laws. Well, actually, it's my people's land, our Indian, Native Americans. But them are laws. Everything you're walking on is now federal land. All right, let's get back to it. Our mayor put out her ex account where ICE raids are taking place. Well, they sent a big thing out to all the people that ICE was in the neighborhood, picking people up. Now, I agree with Kel and Debbie. This is sad. Did she get confused? Or were they looking for him? And she pulled off thinking it was not a big deal or whatever. What color were they? I don't know. But ICE is a federal agency. So it's like the police or anything else, folks. You pull over and give them their information. There's a good chance they would have pulled her over and said, let me see your driver's license and your name, and check the list. If she wasn't on there, she was on her way. I don't know what the problem is, but it ain't good. It's just not good. And do I have anything against Minnesota? No. I've been up to Minnesota fishing when I was younger with my family and everything. I love Minnesota. But facts are facts. Why can't they be protesting in a park and get out of the streets so the roads that were made for vehicles that we pay to use, we can use properly without people panicking and running people over? It's like that one video we seen a couple weeks ago where they surrounded the car and the guy beat the horn and just took off. He was afraid for his life because they were pounding on his car. He ran people over, but he's an American, a citizen, probably not used to having to deal with radicalism or this stuff. And he panicked and floored the car to get out of there for his own safety. Yeah, I can agree with the guy. Let me see what Kelt's saying. That's Tampoon Tim. He's the governor. Our mayor put out his ex account or her ex account. ICE raids taking place. Were there any photos of her, of your mayor, of her? How she looked? Joking. Let's see what else Kelt's saying. She was a white woman. Well, okay. She was a white woman and got shot. This was stupid because all she had to do was pull over and say, I'm white and here's my driver's license. And they would have been on their way. It's like a roadblock. On Christmas Eve or New Year's Eve, they put roadblocks out to see if people are drinking. If you're perfectly sober, you got nothing to worry about. This has been going on for centuries, folks. Now all of a sudden, we wake up one day and the mayor of Minnesota or whoever this guy is saying we don't live in a perfect world. Well, we know that. We're victims of this world.
Colonel, would you like to do that? Colonel?
So the governor was mentioning mobilizing more of the state patrol. How many state patrol people are on the ground in Minneapolis right now? Should there have been more state patrol people on the ground a couple of weeks ago when I was came?
So the question was, how many state patrol troopers have been deployed to the city of Minneapolis? Right now, we don't talk typical numbers because that is considered security information. We do have a specialized team that does deal with crowd control. And so they have been deployed, but again, they are from all over the state of Minnesota. So they will come in tiers to the state. No, it was in response to this event.
This is what would happen to your body if you ate mood sleep gummies every day. Day 1, you take your first gummy at bedtime, maybe expecting disappointment. But 20 minutes later, your racing thoughts slow down and you're falling asleep without tossing and turning for hours.
Has anyone tried that mood?
I'm sorry.
Gummy bears or whatever. Whoever's in chat, if you tried them, let me know if they're any good. Kelt says, plus
Well,
I
said
wonder
this yesterday. We've never
if
been
they
at war
knew
with our
ICE
federal government.
hires are given enough training.
I think in this case that the National Guard is their main mission. They have a dual mission. There's the federal mission when they're under Title 10 orders, and then they're under Title 32 orders. In this warning order, there's nothing officially been done yet. If I am to activate them as the commander-in-chief of the Minnesota National Guard, I will issue the executive order to the Minnesota National Guard, and then they will be put in state duty status. And as you've seen over the last few years, that could be flood prevention. That could be after a wind blowing storm up in the north, up in Bemidji, or it could be COVID or George Floyd response. In this case, again, it doesn't necessarily change the mission. They're there to protect Minnesotans. They're there to serve Minnesotans. I think the thing that is so challenging in the moment we're in is we don't see a desire to work with us on public safety. We hear a demonization of our state. We see people coming in who don't know our community. And we see this massive display for the TVs that we're trying to understand, how is this coordinated? And some of you watch the videos on there, total chaos. And look, I have very limited work in this is the training in the National Guard, but I've had a lot of training now to watch how our professionals operate. After this person was shot, federal agents milling around, touching the vehicle at a crime scene and things. I don't know what to tell you. And I don't quite know how to respond to the question other than my primary responsibility as governor is the protection of the people of Minnesota. And you can be assured.
Well, there ain't nothing you could do, sir. I hate to say it because them troops are literally FB or Federal Bureau and federal government troops. I know they're in your state and you call it state National Guard or whatever. It's just a militia. But when crap gets deep, we all know the federal government upheaves any state. And them are no longer your National Guards. I know. I mean, they can protest it. They can say no, whatever. I don't know. But laws are laws, and the federal government owns every single United States person that is in a United States military fatigues. So you're battling a losing battle. You're trying to separate state from federal. And who suffers? Us American people, the citizens. When we pay for it all.
Whether it's the State Patrol or whether it's the National Guard, their deployment is there to protect Minnesotans from whatever it is. If it's an act of nature, if it's a global pandemic, or in this case, if it is a rogue federal agent. I don't know at this time, and I want to be very careful. It's unprecedented that we have the federal government's already determined exactly what's happened here and the motives of an individual that we don't even know the name. They don't know the name.
Yeah, that's pretty fishy, Kel. And these people, the federal government is calling it an act of terrorism. That's what they're saying. It's an act of terrorism. So I agree with this guy somewhat, but somewhat I don't. If you were serious about it, you would be broadcasting out to the people in your state. Don't be walking down roads. Here's a field where you all can walk in circles and protest. We'll get all the news cameras out there for you. You just can't let the people take over the streets. Or I suggest you reimburse your BMV license owners who have the right to the road a check for, I don't know, $10 or something each. We pay money to drive on the roads. See, back in the day, you couldn't even ride a bike on the road. You couldn't even ride a bike on the road, let alone walk down the side of a road without being a police officer pulling over and saying, you either have to get up on the sidewalk or you have to walk in the grass, but you can't even walk down the shoulder of a road that vehicles were passing on. You had to walk on the sidewalk or somewhere else. So eventually it's just gone crazy. I don't know. We're here making movies. I want to thank everyone for watching the Johnny Kramer Music Movie Channel. We're here reporting. We do reporting. We do it all.
And that's very difficult. So, but one more, Dana. Dana.
All right, let's talk expedience versus tonal. Which is better? So if you're thinking about building a home gym, let's break.
Look, and I understand the uniqueness of this moment in this week, following this week, seeing what's happening in the backdrop of a show hearing in DC. My job is to govern, and my job is to see what the facts are. This happened a couple of hours ago, and we're already pitting American against American. All of you saw a video in your eyes. We have a chaotic situation caused by the largest deployment in American history of federal agents into a community with no communication to locals. We had a chaotic situation.
Well, you know, Miss Celt, if you're still watching, Mr. Celt, or whatever you claim to be today, I agree with you. Are these ICE agents given enough training? I don't know. They probably were left over of the 80,000 IRS agents, which is a totally different ballgame. Although they are allowed to carry weapons, an IRS agent can carry a weapon. They might not have had the proper training, but who's at fault here? Kelt's saying it was a white woman, then she had nothing to worry about. You know, was it a rogue ICE agent that took out a white person just to do it? We don't know. It just happened. Like this mayor saying, but it's pretty crazy if you ask me. You know, it's pretty crazy. And he's saying, well, now we're putting Americans against Americans. Well, where you been? What's been going on since the day of, since 1968? Americans against Americans. Oh, you took a 5-minute nap, Debbie? Cool.
Where an individual is in their car shot and killed. And so, look, I want to be very cautious here, because Donald Trump will make this about me. He will make this about politics. This is about public safety, and this is about normalcy. To Americans who are watching this, if you're in Portland or you're in LA or you're in Chicago or you're wherever they're coming next, stand with us. Stand with us against this. This was so preventable, so unnecessary, and I don't know. I hope maybe we're.
Well, I agree, Mr. Walz, Governor Walz. I agree 100%. It should have never happened. It should have never happened. I don't know why you didn't get a memo or a phone call or a text stating. Everyone else did. It's like everyone in the city that they were talking to, that was on the video that I showed you before this one, said they got an alert that ICE was in the area and would be operating in that area. How does the governor not get one? How does the police force not get one? Why ain't they working as a unit, as a team? I have no idea. Why are they allowing people to walk down the middle of the streets? I have no idea. You got plenty of room and land out there. Send them somewhere where they can go and protest peacefully. I don't know why. Why? I don't know. I ask myself every day why.
We're at the McCarthy moment. Do you have no decency? Do you have no decency? We have someone dead in their car for no reason whatsoever. And I don't want to be right about this, but I said if they do this, they're going to create a chaotic situation where someone innocent's going to get killed. And they did it. And now we hear more political rhetoric. Enough. Enough is enough. And so to Minnesotans, don't take the bait. Do not take the bait. Do not allow them to deploy federal troops into here. Do not allow them to invoke the Insurrection Act. Do not allow them to declare martial law. Do not allow them to lie about the security and the decency of this state. And
So here you got a state governor telling people do not obey the laws. Well, sir, I don't think you should be saying that. It's just crazy. That's why everyone's backing out of everything and don't want nothing to do with anything. They don't want to have to do with anything anymore of this madness. It's just crazy if you ask me, sir. I agree with you on some of the stuff, but some of the stuff I don't. If the government calls martial law, they call martial law. What can you do about it? You're playing right into their hands by protesting against it and burning down buildings. The only ones that are suffering is us citizens.
let this investigation play itself out. Let's make sure we protect our neighbors. I encourage you to use your First Amendment rights and all of your constitutional rights, but do so in a peaceful manner. We'll gather back with you as soon as we gather more information that needs to be put out. But again, stay safe, Minnesotans, and we'll be back with you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News.
Oh, it's just crazy. Like I said, no matter what color you are, if they give you an order, listen to what they're telling you to do. These people don't see color. When we go to war, we go to war. Color is not a thing. I don't know what to tell these people. If they're in your neighborhood, they're in mine right now. They're only looking for people that are here illegally or have killed massive amounts of people or very bad people, drug dealers and stuff like that. Let them do your jobs. Let them do their jobs. I don't know what to tell them. Turn yourselves in. As Miss Debbie Fox told these people to do, turn yourselves in. Well, it's sad. My condolences to the family of the woman that got shot, but you got to, everyone, I don't know why they're not working together. What are we going to have? A civil war or something like that? State against federal and all this and that. No, this crap is for the birds. It's the same thing with religion. My God, are you a Catholic? It's just evil. It's just evil. What denomination are you, or are you a Democrat or Republican? This is the stuff that killed America, destroyed America. I know it killed me, but there you go, folks. We'll be back with more as more comes in and we find out what's this here? This is the vehicle that was shot, I think. Oop, there it was right there. Oh, Jesus. Jesus.
Tech needs leaders who embrace the future, who deliver results fast, accelerated by
A woman in Minneapolis is dead after an ICE-involved shooting. These are live pictures from Minneapolis. There are videos, as we speak, going around social media showing what happened earlier today between protesters and ICE. We're working on bringing you those videos. You can see one of them on your screen as we speak. Basically, here's what it describes. It shows agents in a truck pulling up to a car that appears to be blocking the road. The two agents get out. They walk up to the driver's side of the car. From there, things escalate quickly. One agent touches the car, and the driver starts driving backwards with the agent's hand still on the car. The driver then hits the gas while another agent appears to be standing in front of the vehicle. That agent, more in front of the car, appears to open fire as the car barrels towards him. DHS telling Fox News the officer who fired the shots had been dragged by a car last June in Minneapolis. We've since learned the driver of the car who was shot was a 37-year-old woman. She was killed. President Trump has weighed in just the last 30 minutes. He wrote, "I have just viewed the clip of the event which took place in Minneapolis. It is a horrible thing to watch. The woman screaming was obviously a professional agitator, and the woman driving the car was very disorderly, obstructing and resisting, who then violently, willfully, and viciously ran over the ICE officer who seems to have shot her in self-defense. It is hard to believe he is alive, but is now recovering in the hospital. The situation is being studied in its entirety. But the reason these incidents are happening is because the radical left is threatening, assaulting, and targeting our law enforcement officers and ICE agents on a daily basis. They are just trying to do the job of making America safe. We need to stand by and protect our law enforcement officers from this radical left movement of violence and hate." Now, not long after the incident, just a few hours ago, we saw chaos already beginning between law enforcement and rioters on the streets of Minneapolis. Watch.
Get out of the way! Get out! Chris, get out the way! Get out the way of the truck! Move! Move!
Tense in a city that not even 6 years ago was destroyed by political tension, by lawlessness, by agitators. And on that note, not long after that moment you saw on your screen, Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey held a news conference where he basically begged for this to be 2026 George Floyd.
I have a message for ICE. To ICE, out of Minneapolis. We do not want you here. Your stated reason for being in this city is to create some kind of safety, and you are doing exactly the opposite.
Trust me, I have a lot.
What a mess. What a mess. What a mess. I wash my hands of it like Pontius Pilate. I got some chicken cooking right now. Should be done in about 15 minutes or so, I'm hoping. This is turning out to be a complete mess. You got authority battling authority, state against federal. Most of the people out in this crowd look like they're white people. Would you catch me out there going through all this? No. Right? There's peaceful ways of doing it and nonviolent ways of protesting. Oh, what a mess. And would anything be done if ICE wasn't looking for these people? Probably not. It'd go back to where the state is corrupt and they're all making money except for anyone that, no, it's corrupt. Of course they want people out of there so they can get back to doing whatever they do. I don't know. I'm not, and I'm sorry, I shouldn't say that because I don't know if Minnesota is corrupt. But this goes to show that it's just horrible in America right now, folks. I've never seen it like this. No. Well, I have. The thing out in California, the Watts burnings or whatever, and the George Floyd thing. I mean, this is just normal. It's normal stuff. We've grown cumbersome to it. I don't know. But I got to get my dinner ready. I want to thank everyone for stopping in. I think both sides are wrong here. I think the protesters should be protesting, but stay out of their way. Don't give them something to hurt you or something. Don't give them a reason. But you know what? You have your free will mind. You folks do what you want. I'll be back later. God bless everyone. It's horrible. My condolences to the families. Could it have been different? It could have been. Why is there such a communication breakdown? Don't know. And pretty soon, no one will really care. So have a good night. God bless. I'll be back.